Good housing, health care and schools, safe streets. These are all important issues to the people of Chicago. But from all over the city, community leaders we talked to said one issue overshadows all the others in importance. Maybe the biggest problem facing the city and the mayor.
I think jobs is the major concern of the whole city. I mean, everything relates to jobs. My real concerns is jobs.
Are there going to be more jobs? We need more jobs.
Would there be more jobs opening up to everybody, teenagers as well as older people?
One of our biggest problems, if not the biggest one, is the unemployment in our community.
During the primary campaign, Harold Washington knew that jobs were critical to the city and were an important election issue. So he promised to do something about putting people to work.
Our new corporation will help retain and create 10,000 jobs.
But many people feel Mayor Washington has done nothing about jobs in Chicago. 100 days after taking office, the mayor has yet to unveil his economic development plans that would provide jobs through private business. And to make things worse, the city is now putting people out of work to save its own money. Our Channel 2 News Sun-Times news poll shows 44% of the people approve of Mayor Washington's move to lay off city workers, while 46% disapprove.
My name's Jerry Lascola, and I live on the west side of Chicago. And I'd like to know how come Mayor Washington's laying off all the city workers and forcing them out of office and jobs.
During the election, you knew jobs was a big election issue. You were talking about creating 10,000 new jobs, and yet the city, one of the city's biggest employers, is now laying people off.
Well, in the first place, we made it very clear that there would be some people who would be laid off because during the last 4 or 5 months of Burns' administration, she went over budget and hired people for obvious political purposes, and they had to be left off, and they were let off. The recent problem is simply this. We have not threatened to lay people off. We have gone to the city council with a financial plan and said, if you will not give the $22 million tax rebate and reinstitute it, we will be able to balance the budget for 83 and look into 84 with some degree of certainty as to be able to balance it then.
These 10,000 jobs that you mentioned during that one debate, where do people line up to apply for these 10,000 jobs?
It's quite that simple. We approach this thing in 2 ways. One, we've said that insofar as this city is concerned, it would balance the distribution of jobs equitably and fairly. For example, in the summer youth employment, for the first time, instead of arbitrarily picking people to go to work, we had a lottery system, which meant that the jobs were fairly dispersed. We maintained that the existing jobs in the city, to the extent that we could afford those jobs, would be fairly distributed. That's why we fought the passionate system. That's why we supported the Shackman decree, and that's why Judge Bull was so laudatory in his remarks about us. We also said, however, that it's the responsibility of this city not to resolve the unemployment question. We can't do that. Mr. Reagan can't do that, it seems. We would just cooperate with it. What we're doing is trying to restructure the economic development of this city, synchronize planning, economic development, housing, and job training to maintain the jobs that we have and to attract additional business. We're going to do that.
Mr. Mayor, of course, there's another issue that registers very strongly in viewer opinion and voter opinion in the poll that we took, and of course that's the fight in the City Council. 35% of those polled approve of the way that you are handling the council dispute, but 43% disapprove, and 21% have no opinion. Here is what the people in the neighborhoods are saying.
If they don't work closer together, we're not going to get anything done in the city.
Is it really necessary for him and Verdoliak to, really be going through these changes? You know what I mean? It's a lot of changes they're going through, and by the changes that they're going through, it's hurting us.
Instead of worrying about 2 different factions between the 29 faction and his faction, just get down to business and do something for the people.
It's a mess, if him and Verdoliak don't, negotiate and get anything together, then the city would just be a mess, and he'll just spend his whole 4 years in office not doing a thing, just fighting.
Well, why don't they settle it once and for all? There's other problems, they got to take care of the city instead of arguing all the time.
The city will never build once they pull apart from each other. They have to come together and compromise something.
You can't run anything fighting each other, can you? All right. How is he going to straighten it out? He's got to straighten it out.
Well, I'd like to ask him what
what he thinks he might be able to accomplish if he could ever get the Verdoliak 29 to cooperate.
Well, Mr. Mayor, how will the city function in this atmosphere of confrontation?
Well, the city is functioning. We don't want the fight. Frankly, even though people may not see it that way, we didn't ask for the fight, but since we have it, we have to deal with it.
Specifically,
I have made it clear.
What is blocking a compromise?
Well, that's what I'd like to know, but let's make one other thing clear first, because that's the nub of these questions. Government has not been slowed to a halt. Everything that we have asked for, emergency and non, has gone to that council almost without change, and the council has even cooperated with us in diverting $13.5 million CD dollars back into the neighborhood. So the council has done its job up to a point, and the mayor has done his job. The impression is that government has been ground to a halt because of it. It's not true.
What is blocking compromise?
I can only recall one instance in which the council, with malice aforethought, blocked something. I was there last week with their sign-on for the Chicago Fest, which I thought was important. We can't afford to just give Festivals Inc. $450,000. Members of the council didn't show up. Strange thing happened in the media. I was blamed because the council didn't show up. I didn't elect these people. I don't pay them. They were AWOL. They didn't show up for work, but I was blamed for it. But go back to it. The council is functioning on matters important to the city, and nothing has been blocked. What can stop it? The realization on the part of certain members of the council that there has been a change. People voted for that change. They want that change. They want an open government. They want a council that is a real council. That will stop it.
Mr. Mayor, after a break, we'll look at how the city council dispute has affected your ability to reform city government.
According to our news poll, in the city council dispute, 28% of the people side with the Verdoliak 29. 46% side with Mayor Washington.